Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be a September 2022 budget recap using the printable version of the Budget by Paycheck workbook from the Budget Mom. If you're interested in seeing that, please stick around. Okay, so I thought we'd start out this September 2022 budget recap in my monthly view, basically just to show that this was a little bit of a unique month for me, given that I had 3 paychecks. I do get paid bi-weekly, and a couple times a year I end up with a 3 paycheck month. September was one of those months, so that's definitely something that you're going to see reflected in my earned income and my inflow. But other than that, everything else was pretty much business as usual with regards to my bills. I did have my Amazon Prime membership due on the 15th. That came out of one of my sinking funds, so you will see that utilized in my budget. Let's skip forward to these are my trackers. Okay, let's skip forward to the debt payment plan. So I'm going to zoom on in just to kind of give you guys a close-up of this page. This is a newer page to me. Up until very recently, I wasn't using the debt payment plan because the only debt that I had was my student loans, and I have not been paying on my student loans for the last couple of years because they've been on hold. Now I am currently paying off a car, and so using this debt payment plan, makes a lot more sense. Here I have both of my debts listed. Nelnet is my student loan. I'm not going to lie, I think I may have filled this out a little incorrectly. I did this with the balance at the beginning of the month, but I think I was meant to do it with the balance at the end of the month after I made my payments. I'm not sure 100%, but these are the balances at the beginning of the month. So my balance for my student loan was almost $45,000. My interest rate, I don't currently have a minimum payment due because my loans are on hold, and it's technically my second priority under my car payment. I want to pay that off first. So Sikorsky is where my car payment is through, or my car loan is through. This was the balance before I made any payments this month, a little over $25,000, my interest rate, and my minimum payment. Now, you might look at this and say, hang on, your car minimum payment is less than your student loan, so you should focus on your student loan. And I totally understand that from the debt avalanche perspective. But for me, my thought process is that I think that this car loan will more negatively affect me when I go to apply for a mortgage than my student loan, which is why I'm focusing on my car loan. If I bring you down here to the extra debt payments section, you'll see that there's actually a couple of things listed. So first off, I was able to make or put extra cash towards my car. Big part of that is because of the fact that it was a 3 paycheck month for me. So with my last paycheck in the month, I did use $500 of that to put towards my car payment as a principal payment. I also, as you can see, have a debt payment towards my student loan, even though my loans are on hold. My employer recently came out with a program that they will pay up to $4,000 a year towards my student loans for a maximum of $20,000. I think that's over the course of like 5 years or something. And they'll basically break that up with one payment per month. And so if you break up that $4,000, it's $333.33 per month. And so I applied for that program. I was approved, and September was the first month that actually went into effect. So they did pay $333 of my student loan for me, which is pretty awesome. That means that total my extra debt payments plus my usual car payment equaled out to $1,290.18. Now, this stuff down here, first time I've ever filled this out. I think I did it all correctly, but basically, this first section is looking at my monthly debt progress for September 2022. So, my debt balance at the end of last month, or the beginning of September, was $70,085.95. And then this is my balance now after payments this month, $68,842.48. The difference is $1,243.47, which means that I have made 1.75% progress. When I look at my overall debt, since I basically started paying off my car, it was $70,910.32. Again, same current debt balance. That means my overall progress is a little over $2,000 and just under 3%. Now, this $70,910.32, that's my student loan and my car payment when I got my car payment. Or when I got my car loan. I didn't go all the way back and look at progress that I had made on paying my student loans before COVID. I had a consolidated loan at that time already, and I was definitely making regular payments towards my student loan. I think I started out with about $55,000 in student loan debt. And then I had a separate loan that for some reason never got consolidated in. That was about $5,000. So I think total it was more around 60. And then I had paid off that solo loan that was off on its own, was paying off my consolidated loan, and got it down to about $45,000. So I think total I've paid like around $15,000 towards my student loans overall since I started paying my student loans off. But basically this total here didn't really incorporate anything that was like pre-COVID, just because I honestly didn't have the energy to go back and look up all that information. If I flip the page over, we are now in my monthly net worth tracker. I did put a goal in place that I wanted to figure out my net worth every month for 2022. I was doing really, really great up until July. I think I didn't figure it out in July. I did figure it out in August. I did figure it out for September. So I put this together on the last day of the month. I have my net worth from last month, from August 2022, listed up here. I do cover up my assets just for privacy purposes, but the total balance of my assets was $186,685.75. My student loans are right here. This was their balances after I made my payments this month. And again, that total is $68,842.48. If I subtract my liabilities from my assets, my total net worth for September is $117,843.27. That is a negative change of almost $5,000, and a negative 4% change. Next, we're going to talk about my favorite page in the monthly budget recap section, which is the monthly budget category breakdown. I love this page. I think this page is super, super informative. I think that if you're going to kind of pick and choose the pages that you want to utilize in the Budget by Paycheck workbook, this needs to be our priority page for people. It really does hold you accountable to your budget, which I think is very important. So the first part of this sheet is all about your income. It adds your starting balance, which for me was a little over $700, to your earned income. For me, my earned income is just what I made at my full-time job. This is higher than usual because I had a 3-paycheck month. And then other income for me is anything that I might make off of Etsy. Anything, which I don't think I made anything off Etsy this month, by the way. Anything that I get repaid for because I paid for it upfront for someone, any like refund from something I've returned, anything like that. And so for me, my other income for this month was $234.49. My savings used was $985. And that means that my total monthly inflow, which my budget is based off of, was $10,987.21. Now, I will say I did incorrectly add this all up the first time I went through and I did my budget. And I was totally stressing out because I was off by like $100 or something like that, or a couple $100, and it was that I was kind of messing up what my earned income was, and I was accidentally including the savings used in the earned income as well. So I totally fudged that. If we focus on my budget categories here, you'll see that I do come up with a monthly budget for myself. These are at least for my variable expenses, they're generally what I put in my cash envelopes times 2, because I usually fill my cash envelopes twice a month. The others are, you know, pretty standard in terms of like what I know my expense is going to be. And then for me, for savings, my goal's always been to save kind of about half of my income. Again, my earned income this month a little bit different because of that third paycheck. For groceries, I was under budget by over $150, which was good. Eating out, I was over budget by $58. I've been struggling a lot with my eating out category. I really don't want to up my eating out category, and so I just need to be better about budgeting that. I will say that last month I was even more over budget, so this was a bit of an improvement from last month, and we'll get into that a little bit more later, but I'm still not happy with the fact that I was over budget in that category. For gas, you can see that I was super under budget. I only spent $33 on gas in the month of September. If you've been watching my videos for the last several months, you'll know that I bought a new car in June. That car is a hybrid, so that definitely factors into how much I'm spending on gas. But the reason why this was so low is because I did get COVID in the month of September. I was quarantining for almost a week basically, and I missed 3 days of work. So that definitely factored into how much gas I used in the month of September. And I will say that I ended up actually getting gas like on October 1st or October 2nd. So I just barely didn't spend more money on gas in September. For miscellaneous, this is one where I was actually under budget last month, which was really exciting. Unfortunately, not under budget this month, a little bit over $75. Miscellaneous bills I don't ever really have a budget for because those types of expenses change from month to month for me, but I did spend almost $1,500, which I wish was less. Fortunately, I did budget, or I did save more than I budgeted. I saved over $4,000, which was great. For utilities, pretty much on track, around $350. Housing, it looks like I was over budget by $600. I think I talked in my August monthly budget recap that I didn't actually spend anything on rent in the month of August, just with the way my paychecks fell. And so for September, it was going to look like I was over budget. And it's because I pulled my September and my October rent from my September paychecks. So that's why that looks like that. And then for giving, I was right on point. For debt, I was over what I had budgeted. This budgeted amount here is just my car payment, since that's the only necessary monthly payment I have right now. And then of course I use my travel sinking fund to pay for part of my vacation, and then subscriptions for my Amazon Prime. If you add up all these categories, you're not gonna get your total monthly inflow, which is what you want, right? With the budget by paycheck method, it is every dollar in equals every dollar out. And so you want your inflow and your outflow to be the same. The issue is that if you roll any money over from one month into the next, you have to account for that, or else your expenses aren't going to add up correctly. And so for me, my October starting balance, what I was rolling over from September into October, was $1,009.92. And that number was as high as it was because I did get paid right at the end of the month. If I add everything together with that October starting balance, I should equal my inflow, and I pretty much did. I was off by 98 cents. I'll take that. I'll take being off by 98 cents. As you can see, a lot of red here. That being said, I did make more this month. Well, I shouldn't say that actually. We'll go to in a couple pages. You'll see I think made a little bit less, but I did have more earned income this month. So if we flip this over and get more into the nitty gritty of my debt and savings, I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit more. In my debt category, you can see that my total monthly inflow is listed here. How much I put towards debt is listed here. And then the percentage of inflow to debt was just under 9%. Now, The reason why this is different from the total monthly debt payoff on my debt sheet is because I didn't include the $333 that my job paid towards my debt, because that wasn't earned income for me. It would have thrown my budget off. So this is just my usual monthly car payment plus the extra $500 I put towards my car. And so all 100% of my earned income that went, or my inflow that went to debt, went towards my car. For the saving side of things, we don't use inflow, we just use income. And the reason is that we don't want to utilize savings that we used when factoring in how much we put towards savings. That doesn't really make sense. So your total monthly income is everything from that monthly budget category breakdown sheet in this top row here, except for savings used. And so for me, my total monthly income was $10,002.21. I put, again, over $4,000 towards savings, and that means I saved 40% of my income. The way that that broke down makes a lot of sense based on what my priorities were in the month of September. For my house, I put a little over $1,400 into my savings. For my sinking funds, it was $1,950. That definitely makes sense because in the month of September, I was still paying off my vacation. And so I was putting a lot of money towards my travel sinking fund. That was my number one priority. The vacation got paid off. And so if you watch my budget with me for my last paycheck in September, you know, that did really free up a lot of money for me to put more towards my house, to put more towards debt. So these numbers in terms of where the majority of my savings is going will definitely be changing in October, but it definitely applies to what my priority was in September. After those two, next highest was my 2022 challenge. Those are the challenges from the Budget Mom. Then my 52-week challenge, my emergency fund, and my $5 challenge. The last page that we're going to look at is the comparison page. This is where we compare spending from last month to this month. Again, as you can see in my inflow, my inflow was technically less this month than last month by a little over $600. And I think that was because I used a lot more savings last month than this month, and that factors into the inflow. But when it comes to earned income, my earned income in September was obviously a lot higher, and I think that's why a lot of these are red here. When it comes to groceries, I did spend about $12 less in September, which is great. Eating out, like I mentioned earlier, I spent less this month than in August, which I'm happy for. Gas, I spent less. Miscellaneous, I spent a lot more by, over $250, but last month, man, I really underspent in miscellaneous, which was amazing. For miscellaneous bills, I overspent by over $550. I definitely want to work on getting this miscellaneous bills category down in October. That's definitely a priority for me moving into October. For savings, I saved more in September, which is not a bad thing. Utilities, we were pretty much almost completely equal. For housing, like I said, this was a little bit of an anomaly, so it doesn't really apply. For giving, a little bit more, which is not a bad thing. And then for debt, more in September, which again, not a bad thing. For my sinking funds categories, I was under this month with car insurance and taxes, and that's because my car insurance, I technically pay it in July, but it didn't come out until August 1st. And so that's why that was so large in the month of August. For travel, again, why my inflow was so different or, dropped this month, even though I had higher income. I used $3,000 in my travel sinking fund last month versus only $845 this month. And then for subscriptions, again, that was just paying my Amazon Prime. And that's something I did in September, but not October. I'm sorry, September, but not August. I hope you all enjoyed this September budget recap. If you have any questions about how I close out my budget, please do not hesitate to put them down below. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.